Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars, my trucks, my SUVs, the dogs, me, the kid. Yeah, hey, Wednesday morning there for everybody's tuning my channel. Wow, it's cold. It's November 1st, and the change of season has happened. Brr, it is chilly out. I could probably use an extra layer of clothing right now, but since I'm going to the barn to hang out in my heated office, I don't need it so much. But if I was going to be outside, I would definitely change up. I should add another jacket because it's cold. So here's my fall color hat, my Ford Super Duty F-250. Ford built tough. Is that Ford saying? I didn't even look it up. Ford built strong or something like that. All the different truck guys, Chevy built like a rock. Who's in all these advertising lingo sayings? So yeah, I got my Ford F-250 hat because you know why? I thought Super Duty, the Ford Super Duty product. I really do. Even though I think the front end steering isn't the greatest. It walks some, but overall I love the lines of the Ford Super Duty truck. I just think, boy, this is so me growing up with the kind of the look, even though I was a Chevy guy, but I just like these really strong, crisp lines. That's what the Chevy had back in my day, back in the 70s. Did very strong, crisp lines. The Ram product, it's always kind of been more of a roundish type of look to it. I mean, I love the Ram product as well, but the new Ford Super Duty, when they redesigned that truck back like in 2016 or 17, I just really thought, wow, I really want one of these new Super Duties because I just love the lines of the truck. And come on, pups, let's kind of get you guys in the barn. Come on, pups. And so the word of the day is strong. I thought, hey, I don't think we've had a strong, come on. Hey, come on. Scotty, I don't think we've had a strong conversation. And so far in the week that we've had morning conversations is we had the multi-brand conversation on Monday. We had the flaw conversation yesterday. And I thought today what we could do is talk about the strong conversations. I thought that the strong conversation would be appropriate because I think to myself, boy, more than ever in our age of technology, the manufacturers are just bringing incredibly powerful vehicles to the market. I mean, it's just incredible. When I was growing up, hey, Scout! Another dog here is kind of a little bit of a nuisance here. Looks like my one, come on, let's get on in. The one lens looks like it's kind of covered over, but out here in the Ford Super Duty, and I mean, when I saw Ford release that new design Ford F-Series truck, and I had the Ram trucks, and I've been such a Ram guy for so long, I just like, wow, I so want that truck. I just love the look of the cab and how they did the lines on it. And to me, the truck just looks tough. It looks like it's strong. And believe it or not, I talked about the other day, this 6.7 Power Stroke, it's the number one highest output powerful diesel motor in the three of the brands of the Ram, Chevy, GMC, and Ford. I mean, Chevy and GMC are one brand in my book. So it's the strongest of them all. I think it has the strongest towing rating. So Ford, in my eyes, has done a great job on just offering us motorheads the ability to have just incredibly powerful vehicles. I mean, just like this Ford Power Boost, I can't emphasize enough. I'm driving this now for the Army vet retired. Hope you're doing okay today. And so I've been driving this. I mean, I just love this truck. This truck is so powerful. It is so strong because of that. I think it's a 65 horsepower electric motor built in between the motor and the transmission, from my understanding. Could be motor, transmission, electric. I think it's a motor. I mean, I don't know. But it's built in the transmission area, and it just gives this truck instantaneous power. And it's so strong off the line, and it's just so easy to go down the road, and it doesn't struggle. And that's the thing. I came from a generation of driving vehicles that were 100 horsepower, 120 horsepower, 150 horsepower, 180 horsepower cars. The original, my first Ram diesel truck was in the summer of 1997, a Ram 2500, 8-foot bed, extended cab. I bought it at Falls Church, Coons Dodge. And that initial Ram Cummins motor, I think that thing was like 350, I don't know, 300 horsepower, if even that, like 350 or 400, foot-pounds of torque. I can't even really, that's from back in 1997. I mean, that's a little time off, which is kind of incredible. It's incredible. My nephew, who passed away this summer, or this past February, he was with me. Actually, he was with me when I bought that brand new 1997 Ram 2500. What's incredible, even back then, that truck was like really high up in the air. It was so cool to me. It seemed like Ram was a step ahead of the other manufacturers and just how high the truck sat up. I mean, it was crazy. And so once again, that Cummins, the whole point is that I'm trying to convey here is it wasn't really till the late 90s that the powers in these vehicles really kind of started to grow. And then the 2000 years, I mean, who doesn't remember the first Z06 Corvette? What was that, the 99 model? I'm just trying to think. C5 was that car was like, I think 400 and some odd horsepower, and then it went to like 500. I mean, even for me, it's just so many cars I've owned in my lifetime. But once again, it's all about me growing up in the 70s and 80s and having these minuscule 100 horsepower vehicles. And I struggled to go down the road. Like that Chevy truck that I have at my office, I show you every now and then, that had the 305 Chevy motor. And that thing was just really not very, per se, powerful. I mean, that thing probably had like 200 and some odd horsepower. I can't even really remember. I'm going to kind of close my barn. The wind's kind of pretty, I'm not going to close them all the way, but yeah, so the Strong, I think the Strong is such a good conversation today, because I think that all of us relate with our vehicles that relate to how we feel about the vehicle that we own, and it's the good and the bad. Meaning, if you're driving around a little 4-cylinder Honda Civic, I don't think you're sitting there thinking you're driving around this really strong vehicle. If you're driving around in a big old Ford F-250 truck or a big old Chevy or Ram, you just have this really like, wow, this is just a really strong vehicle. And in so many ways, it's the personality of you. I mean, who doesn't totally agree on that? When you drive down the road, you see a person in a vehicle and you kind of start thinking, I wonder who that person is in that vehicle. And you just kind of start evaluating what that person looks like, their personality, whether they're wealthy, they're not. And that's the whole thing about the whole car fixation and vehicles, is it radiates that you're wealthy, or it radiates that you're not so wealthy. And the irony of it is, so many guys like me that have all these freaking vehicles, you got a lot of money tied up in vehicles. So does that mean I'm really wealthy? And I've said it many times. Gotta clean my lens off here in the back. The reality is, yeah, if I didn't have all these cars, my wealth factor would be actually better, because there's just too much money tied up in all these vehicles. But I just love, I'm of an age where I can still enjoy this. It won't last forever unless I just win the lotto and have millions and millions of dollars to be able to afford this. Because as I get older, things start to change. So for me, I'm going to enjoy what I can while I'm still a youthful 60 years old. That's how old I am. I'll be turning 61 February next year. That's why if you're like, why do you have all these motorcycles and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Or do you think I'm going to be riding on these motorcycles when I'm 70? I hope I can. I really do. But as you get older in life, you start to realize you better enjoy what you have and enjoy whatever you can ride, because I'm not so sure at 70 years old, my body stature would be comfortable in that motorcycle. I don't know. As you get older in life, a year is more like 3 years. And then a year is like 5 years. I think once you hit your 80s and 90s, a year is like 5 or 10 years. All right. So the Strong, and this is what it's always about, is the Harley Davidson versus the Indian. The Dodge versus the Ford. The Chevy versus the Ford Mustang. I mean, it's always about the which one is stronger, which one has more power. Because strong, definition of strong is the moving the power of force to be able to move something. Just like people that like to lift weights. That's my real beginnings of my discipline of getting going in life is not only playing sports, but I disciplined myself to lift weights when I was very young, and I continue to do that as I progressed. And it was a great foundation for me to get going in life, to just have really good discipline. It's all about discipline. That's a challenge in life. Are you strong in your discipline? And that's challenging. So the individuals that us buy these cars, so many ways you're radiating to others that, I'm stronger than you. I mean, as well as I do, if you're going down the road and a Hellcat pulls up next to you and you're riding down the road and you're just, regular old 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, whatever it may be, do you really feel like you're going to be stronger in that car versus the guy in the Hellcat? Yeah, not so much. I mean, so you're going to be probably taken. I can't get over how fast and how strong these Scat Packs are and Super Bs are. And I talk about this all the time. These cars are so really fast in the 0 to 60 range, and it really is the 80 miles an hour of the separation of these vehicles. Because I've run the Scat Pack guys, meaning I've been in the car to run them, and I've been in these cars to run them, okay? So I've been in both situations. And it really is, these are really strong cars, which is just incredible for Dodge. In some ways, I'm surprised in the last year, they didn't just try to get a little more creative on this 6.4 motor and try to make it like a 500 horsepower motor. They haven't changed it since 2015. So 2015, the 6.4 392 motor has been a 485 horsepower motor, and they've never have tweaked it. I'm just kind of wonder why that's just why they haven't done that. Here on the Ford Bronco, I've been so happy with my Wildtrak package, my Hot Pepper Red, and I just really felt like that 2.7 liter V6 twin turbo motor was more than enough for me to have a lot of fun, which it is. I've showed towing videos of me pulling my motorcycle trailer that's out here that with the motorcycles loaded up in it was like 3,800 pounds. And I thought that Bronco Wildtrak package was like a 3,500 tow capacity. You'll see videos of me from last year towing in 2022, like the spring and the summer, me towing that motorcycle trailer with my Harleys in it, Indians in it, whatever it may be. That is really about a 3,800 pound trailer. In some ways, 4,000 to a degree. They're different trailers. So in that Wildtrak package, I didn't realize that the 3,500 towing capability was a 2-door. 4-door is like 3,200 pounds. So I was rolling down the road with a good 500 plus pounds more on the back of the vehicle, but it did fine. That vehicle just do 80 to 100 miles an hour like nothing with that trailer. I was blown away. So here's the whole point. Here's the Ford Bronco Raptor with a 3.0 motor. And even for me, when I initially bought my first Cactus Gray Ford Bronco, I walked away. I was like, my Wildtrak package is such a nice overall vehicle that I don't know if it's worth the jump for the power to be a stronger Bronco. Is it really worth it? And if you watch my channel, you'll see that I drove off from Koons Baltimore Ford a year ago. It's hard to believe. November of last year, I had a Hot Pepper Red Wildtrak in this garage. I thought I'd probably keep forever. I really thought that would be just a vehicle that I would just not part with, because I got it at sticker price. It was like a $62,000 vehicle. Great vehicle. I just thought that'll just be a vehicle I'll just keep. It just makes so much sense. And then, of course, Koons Baltimore Ford calls me, and they have Raptor, and I went and drove it. And the power factor for me, it wasn't like radical difference. And I truly just kind of walked away like, well, you know what? The numbers don't make any sense. And I literally walked away. And it took a day for me to kind of come to closure, or two, that I finally came to closure that I could probably trade my Wild Track in. I could get the Raptor. I could probably drive it 6 to 8 months, and I could probably sell it for as much as I paid for it, or maybe more. And if you watch my channel, you'll see that I did that. I actually kept it till this past spring, and I put like 10 or 11,000 miles on it, and I turned around and sold it for more than I paid for it. And then I immediately regretted getting rid of it and to buy this black one. But I really do just like the black look of this Raptor more than the Cactus Gray. So, yeah, it's all about the strong. You know, strong shall survive, right? Look at this KTM. The kid wanted this two-stroke dirt bike. All she's been wanting is a two-stroke bike. That 150 motor is plenty strong for the average individual that rides a dirt bike. Unless you're an incredibly experienced motocross racer, that bike is going to put you on your butt. No problem at all. That 150 is more than strong enough. I have a friend of mine that's saying, I want to get a 300. I'm like, why? This guy weighs like 180. And I'm like, why do you need a 300? He's an older guy. He's not an experienced motocross racer. I'm like, a 150. Why would you need that? But it's all about, as we know, so many people buy these cars. Some would be critical of me and be like, well, you never even take these to the track. Right. You know, so why do you need all that power? I mean, I get all that. Here's the Triumph motorcycle. The power, this motorcycle is so strong. This is the most fun motorcycle I've ever owned in my lifetime. I know some people are like, yeah, but what about the Harleys and Indians? Well, this is just a whole different animal. And that 165 horsepower motor between your legs and that like 160 foot-pounds of torque, this thing is just a blast. And the bike, it's, 50, 60 miles an hour, 70. The exhaust in the bike is just gurgling going down the road, like the snap, crackle, pop type of ride, if you understand that, on that exhaust note. So we go back here to the Indian. If you watch my channel, you'll see that my strong believing in having the Indian. I mean, I'm a huge Indian guy, but that's wavering because I'm so disappointed in what I thought was the stronger of the two brands, of the Harley Davidson to the Indian, and I've totally have changed course. Even for me, it's like, wow. And I'm so disappointed that this Indian Pursuit I bought, which really is a nice motorcycle, it really is, that I have this front steering wobble and it's not being resolved. And that's until you're on a motorcycle and you have that experience, that's a very strong feeling that you experience that is not a comfortable feeling. It's not. It's very, in so many ways, scary because people don't understand that these motorcycles. I had one guy make a comment yesterday afternoon that I'm feminine of being scared of my Indian Pursuit that has a steering wobble. And, I'm a feminine guy. I'm thinking, oh my God, hey, you know what? I don't think you watch my channel, but you know what? Why don't you buy the bike and just show how feminine I really am and take my problem off my hand and you just ride it. Because unless you're a motorcycle enthusiast, this steering wheel, handlebars, when this here starts shaking, it can go from just shaking a little bit to a violent shake. If you do not know how to bear that with your strength of being strong, the motorcycle is going down. You are going down. And until you've gone down on a motorcycle at a 40, 50 miles an hour, you're clueless of what's going to play out in your life, how you could be severely injured for the rest of your life. Very, very dangerous. So for me, wrong. I'm not gonna sacrifice my body to prove that, oh wow, some strong man that's gonna overcome the steering. I've never ever in every motorcycle I've ever owned in my lifetime had what's going on with this Indian Pursuit. So for me, I'm just really disappointed that Indian can't address this issue, can't figure out the issue. So I have everybody, commenting that don't watch my channel on a regular basis. You got to replace the front tire. You probably put 2 or 3 different front tires. You got to replace the front wheel. It's the forks. It's a steering head. The latest I heard, which, hey, I'm up for it to hear, the rear wheel is not aligned correctly. And I thought, maybe that's possible. Maybe that rear wheel is not aligned properly. I don't know. I mean, but now, how strongly do I feel about the Indian brand? I don't. I mean, the Harley brand has kind of taken over my strong feelings that is the better overall product with the infrastructure of Harley and this new CVO lineup in so many ways. Just makes me feel like this is a stronger brand now to own. But at the same time, this is a beautiful bike, and yeah, I really need to ride that bike. I just need to ride it just because I need to do the same thing, but I know it's not going to do what that other motorcycle did. Because I've ever ridden that motorcycle close to 600 miles. I never had that experience, that bike. Here's something interesting. It's pretty cool on my channel. I talk about things. People listen to me. So one gentleman said the Power On accessory that Harley took away is not factual. He said you can power on the bike without starting it and have the accessory mode. He said you go above the traction control here and apparently hit down twice and hold it down, and then the bike powers on. Okay, all right, that's great. And I was like, hey, that is really good information. And I was like, okay, so now I'm thinking this gentleman here has helped me to have the capability to keep the motorcycle on. So here's the question for the gentleman that mentioned that, watch my channel. Okay, now let's start the motorcycle, okay? And where I kind of get confused here is, we're going to start it. What's that all about, right? Yeah, that's the Harley, okay? So the bike is on. So now, when I want to turn off the engine, all right, how do I keep all the accessories on? Do I hit that? Do I mean, I don't understand this part. So watch. I'm going to turn off the engine. Everything turns off again. So I don't get it. So that's where I'm confused. Like, well, but this is, I don't understand. So over here in this motorcycle, here, look. I can power on this motorcycle with one button. I can start the motorcycle. Once the motorcycle is turned off, the bike still has all the accessories and power on. The Harley Davidson is all turned off. I mean, in so many ways, to me, it's like it's no different from me doing this. I can turn this little power switch on, and everything powers on. This does the same thing. But when I start the bike, and then I turn it off, everything goes dead, okay? So I don't understand on how what that's even all about. I mean, so maybe I'm confused. For first watching my channel, maybe I'm not doing something right. I don't know. So here's the Indian. I can start it up. Ooh, this thing's barely even starting. So I have my plug. Look at this here. Is this thing even charging? Oh, this ain't good, is it? I just put a new battery in this too. What's that all about? That's a little concerning. So, okay, so here's the bike running. And now I got to double check to make sure my power supply is on this thing. Okay, so now when I turn it off, everything still stays on. So, I mean, so for Harley, once again, Indian. So is Indian the stronger technology side? In so many ways, it is. The Indian, for sure, in so many ways, is a stronger brand on technology and the ride. So there's a lot of positives on the Indian. Just for me right now, I'm just frustrated. But for me now, what I'm really kind of puzzled over is I got all these batteries. Yeah, see, look, it's charging. That's not good. I got a brand new battery this thing. Guess you got to ride the damn thing. You ride these things, yeah. So anyways, it always turns into these morning conversations of just sharing the love of my vehicles that I have and my strong feelings. And that's what I talked about on the multi-brand on Monday was we all have strong opinions and feelings of what we like versus we don't. And I'm sure there's some people here that just feel that the Dodge brand, no way. I would own a Chevy Camaro ZL1. I'd own a Chevy Corvette C8. I'd own a Ford Mustang. I mean, so, and then others are going to be like, no way, the Mopar brand, that looks like the strong, it's the muscle car. I mean, think it through. What is the implications of these performance vehicles? They call them the muscle cars, right? Well, that implies that it's the strong brand. The Triumph, then you go to different brands. I never really looked at Triumph being the strong muscle bike per se, except for the Rocket that does. That's what kind of sets apart this motorcycle from any other motorcycles out there. I wish I would have bought a VMAX before they quit making them, just to have one in my garage. I came so close in 1991 to buying a Yamaha VMAX, and the deal didn't go out. The deal was approved, but it just Anyways, should have got one of those. So you think about the brands. You think about Honda. Does Honda, emit the muscle brand? Does Toyota emit the muscle brand? Does Hyundai emit does the Kia? I mean, start naming these other manufacturers, Volvo. Then it's something how different names of manufacturers and those I just named in so many ways, you don't really at first think, oh, that's the most powerful, that's the muscle brand, even though Acura, Honda makes some incredibly powerful cars, Acura NSX and the type of Civic R. But at the same time, you just don't really relate that. You think of Honda more the reliable car, the fuel-efficient car, the affordable car, the good gas mileage car. You go to and typically you're looking at this as, these are the muscle cars. And then what about the Harley Fat Boy, the Harley-Davidson V-Rod? Those are the muscle bikes. But here, once again, it's all about the image. So you see the guy going down the road in these really cool looking baggers. I think it emits that, the muscle, the strong, versus riding down the road on a moped. Who hasn't been riding a motorcycle and your guy in the moped goes by? You really look at that guy being the stronger of the two? Not so much. So let's get up here in the office and continue the morning conversations. Never even turned on my other light, but oh well. You can see everything here, and now I gotta wonder about that Indian over there because it's not being ridden. I really need to ride that, but it's getting so cold out. And that's what I was thinking to myself. My next project is, which I'm so disappointed, the Pursuit was the bike I bought for the winter months because it has the heated seat, the lowers, hey puppies, the heated grips, it has the better fairing, and now I don't have that motorcycle. If you look here, if you look at a setup on a full tour bike, it has the lowers here. It has the lowers right here to keep the wind off of you. It has the heated seat, typically, heated grips, the big fairing. So you have a lot of protection around you to keep the air off of you. So it's a really comfortable, cool riding bike, cooler weather. And it's just so aggravating. In some ways, I gave it my CVO Limited for that CVO Road Glide, which I didn't want to do. I truly, really fought with Harley of not letting go that CVO Limited 2019. That bike sold instantly when it went to dealership. When that went in there, it was gone. As I looked back, I was thinking, if I could buy that bike back, could I buy that bike back? But it was too late. It was already gone. And once again, I really pushed Harley not to let me get that bike. That was such a cool bike, but it's a heavy bike. But the 2024 Harleys is really sounding more than ever like the new updated version is going to be available. So, but at the same time, what a shame. What a shame that my Indian Pursuit that I waited for over a year and a half to finally be able to buy one. And if you watch my channel, you'll see that. You'll see in September, it's a year, but I ordered one on my birthday. So I ordered an Indian Pursuit on February of 2022. It came in at the Indian dealer down there in Virginia, Tennessee, State Line, Friendship Indian, and the deal, we couldn't get the deal to go down. So I didn't, the burgundy or the red and black, really nice package I ordered, I couldn't get it. So we walked away. And then we went and bought some Harleys. If you watch my channel, you'll see that whole adventure of me doing that with the daughter. That's where daughter got her first Harley-Davidson Street Bob. That whole fiasco created the love for the Harley for my daughter from being an Indian Scout girl. So she wanted to ride the Street Bob all the time. So it was like a blessing to her for that deal not to go down. So, but then to fast forward, now we go to when did I even get that Pursuit? Was that back I think it was September, I think. I'm just going off the tip of my tongue. So you're not talking September, October, now we're talking at least 2 months ago. I don't think I got that thing at the end of August, but I just can't remember. Too many purchases. So, point is, so disappointing that I bought that Indian Pursuit to now be a time of year when it's 40s out, 50s out. You can go ride your motorcycle and you have all that protection. It's got a strong protection in front of you, so you're not getting all that wind on you that really makes you cold without buying all the heated gear. You can do all that stuff, but the whole point is, it's just really disappointing for me that here's a motorcycle I waited for and I tried to get, and I end up getting it, and now it just is not right. So, and once again, I said earlier, it's a strong, until you ride a motorcycle and experience that, it's not very comforting. But now here's what's interesting: is SEMA, the Special Tool Equipment Marketing Association, is happening right now. So yesterday was the first day of the big show in Las Vegas, and all the surprises are being released out there at SEMA. Dodge is not there because the UAW screwed up, supposedly. Dodge's statement was they won't be at SEMA this year. But here's what's pretty cool. Here is a Ford Mustang. Ford Performance has just released, available 2024. You're going to be able to order a supercharger. They call it the FP800S package, where you get a Whipple supercharger that will be a 3-year warranty with a certified technician installs it, or it's a Ford dealer or an ASE certified mechanic, and you can make your Mustang a Coyote motor from 480 to roughly 800 horsepower. And if you want to buy the special lowering kit, special wheels, special front grille inserts, in a front grille replacement, in a Corsa catback exhaust, you can do all that, and that's going to be available beginning 2024. So for me, what's interesting is I don't really like those silver wheels. I guess some people might like it. Be interesting how my car turns out, because my car right now is at Kuhn's Baltimore Ford, and in so many ways it should have a lower, because that car, the kit gives you a lowering stance kit in it. Apparently it does. And so that's pretty cool. But the good news is you can get through the Ford Performance the Whipple supercharger, and they'll put a 3-year warranty on that, 36,000 miles, which that's really nice. So am I going to sign up for that? Most likely will. I mean, do I even, and they're now even talking about to be a special Dark Horse edition package as well, to even make that a little bit more badass, more stronger. And that's what it's all about. I can take my Mustang from 480 to 800 horsepower. Wow. This is one of the reasons I sold my GT500s. I just so strongly felt that Ford is going to ramp up the packages on these Mustangs going forward. And it's just going to be like, wow, the guy owns these GT500s, incredible cars. But the next generation, I think, is just going to be like, wow. You're going to be, I think, the 760 GT500 is going to be the 800 plus horsepower GT500. Is it going to be an 840, 850? Is it going to be all-wheel drive? Is it going to be off that GTD Ford Mustang? I so believe it will. The downside is you better have a strong income, because you're going to have to make a lot of money to buy this stuff. That's the challenge. So for me, I reached out to my servicing dealer, David, the service manager there at Kuhn's Baltimore Ford, and I thought they were taking the car apart Monday, but no, the guy was too busy. He didn't do it. So supposedly the guy was supposed to start working on it yesterday. So yeah, does this probably turn into the end of the week before I get the car back? Yeah, probably. But what's really exciting is what I just showed you is now, for me, once again, I can make this car into it's not going to be the GT500, but it's going to be a very fun, fast car. I mean, that car already is extremely fun, just the way it is. So another thing that they did there is they brought the Tusk 69 Dodge Charger by the Ring brothers. Apparently Jim and Mike Ring are these automotive enthusiasts that customize vehicles. This is at the SEMA show, and they call it the Tusk Charger because it has the Hellephant crate motor, the 426 motor I talked about the other day, where you can buy just out of the gate with Dodge back in like 2019, aka a bigger, better ass Demon setup. You could buy a crate motor from Dodge, and all of them disappeared like instantly. And it's a supercharged 426 motor, and they call it the Helephant. So Dodge actually named that 426 retro bring back from the early 70s a Helephant motor. And so the Ring Brothers, here's the interior of it. The whole car, it's not even a Charger. I mean, the whole underpinnings is it's the body that looks like a Charger, but the whole car is a total custom vehicle that 5,000 hours of time they claim. But here it is. There's your Helephant motor, and they named the car after the elephant, the tusk. The elephant has tusks, so I thought the appropriate name for that car would be the Tusk Charger. 1,000 horsepower thing. So it's strong. So it's very interesting how we're so much into the age of the EV, electrification, and I've talked about this numerous times. The EV is not really what the consumers are really dying to have, but at the same time, the power they're bringing to these cars is incredible. It's incredible that the electric vehicles we're going to witness these electric vehicles. The only downside is, do you feel strong? I mean, do you feel strong in your electric vehicle because there's like no noise? Versus, we all know it's all about the noise. I mean, that's the most common thing when I go to these car meets and car shows. It's all about the noise. And somebody starts up their car and just hearing that rumble, just like on that Triumph motorcycle. Would I be as excited about that motorcycle if it was an electric motorcycle? I would not. It's that total rumble of that engine emitting that, just the strength of that motor. It's the feel that engine of getting on it and getting off of it, where that bike pulls you back and it pulls you forward. I mean, it's just an incredible experience. Until you ride that, you just don't really understand. So on the strong conversations from a multi-brand, as I've spoken so many times, what is a stronger brand right now? And in so many aspects, you'd have to say in some ways Ford, because Ford's continuing down the ICE road. And Ford is ahead of General Motors and Ram on the hybrid trucks. Ford is ahead on the electrified, even though that really isn't the stronger of demand as Ford thought. I mean, it's so incredible on how when Ford introduced that Lightning truck, the amount of people signed up wanting those and put deposits on them went through the roof. And so there was a very strong, out of the gate presence of Ford, really hit it on the head. But yet in the end, here it's going full circle back to the strength of the auto industry is the ice age. I mean, so the GM, Barrera, she's raising her hand. Stellantis, the Carlos Tavares, he's raising his hand. Jim Farley, he's raising his hand. He's saying the stronger, sought-after vehicle is the ICE. It's more of the hybrid. And Toyota, Akodia Toyoda, he's the grandson of the founder of Toyota. He's right now, raising his hand going, hey, didn't I tell everybody a while back that this EV thing is overhyped? It's going too fast, and it needs to be a slower transition, and that the ICE age is a better way to go. And meanwhile, I read in-depth articles on how he was literally forced to retire in so many ways because the board members and stockholders and the EV green agenda's strength overpowered his views of what was real and what wasn't. And that's the challenge today more than ever, is how strong are you to stay in your ways of what you believe. And that's where we are in today's society. If we just look around, that these green agendas, all these different agendas that now more than ever are being forced on us, that in so many ways I'm sure like, no, I just don't agree with this. I don't believe it. And, how strong are we that aren't going to bend to these radical views and ideas? And that's why I thought today's morning conversation of strong is so appropriate for where we are in the automotive industry, that thank goodness the consumers in this country are telling the big three and others that we're not just really sold on
your presentation of what you're telling us is the future. And we're staying strong, and that's why I've got the Ice Age TV. Nobody lately has reached out to get a sticker, but I mean, to me, this is what it's all about. You're out talking to people, it's like ice. You know, you want the ice. You don't need the EV. Why do you need the EV? I mean, really, why do you need the EV? I mean, it's so incredible to me is 30% of the people in this metro area where I live don't drive to work anymore. My wife used to drive to work 5 days a week. Now she drives to work maybe 2 days a week. The stories are rampant in this area. The stories of the infrastructure of all these buildings that was the strength of the economy are now not so much because the office buildings are empty. And even the point that New York City, Washington, D.C., a lot of these political people are now starting to say, hey, we really need to mandate where people have to get back in these offices. Why? Because the strength of these commercial properties has weakened their tax infrastructure. So the government has lost the strength of the revenues generated by people driving to work every day and going to sit in office. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, I'm going to stay strong and I'm not going back to work. I'm going to work at my home. There's nothing accomplished more of me driving to an office. It takes me an hour or two, and it makes me strongly madder that I'm going to sacrifice myself for that. And that's what's going on more than ever. But hey, that's good. I'm glad people take the position, stay strong. And that's another whole conversation is how many people are demanding more money and working less. And they're staying strong with that, and it's happening. Wow, that's a fact. All right, that's it. I'm going to let it go at that. And the Dodge dealer here, Ram Dodge here, they are so trying to get me to buy this Ram TRX. But the banks just aren't buying the deals. Why? What is going on? What is the strength of these banks? What is going on? I mean, I've read numerous articles where the small guys are just getting run out of business because all the big guys are getting all the bigger deposits, where the Fed is in so many ways doing stress tests on these smaller banks, and they just don't have the cash flow that they used to. And the bigger guys like JP Morgan and BOA, and the list goes on, Wells Fargo, Truist, these guys have got the hold on a bigger amount of cash in their bank reserves that the federal government seems to really like. And is that kind of like a strong statement of what is that underlying message versus small guys? They're just getting borderline shut down in so many ways. I mean, you read these different articles, but the whole point is, what is the strength of the banks? So the banks really starting to see so many defaults and so many losses that their stronghold is deteriorated, and they're becoming much more stringent on their lending practices because they're taking such hits. And so is that going to keep the strength? Hey, I got a sandwich from the kid. The chef, my chef, has arrived, and my worker, she's freezing. She's cold. Wow. Yeah, how strong is she going to be? Right? Hey, I'm going to leave it at that. Too much noise. Hey, appreciate you watching my channel. Thanks so much for nice comments. Share the channel. That'd be great. And ask for a sticker at iceagetvcomments@gmail.com. And I got a sticker for you if you want to share the Ice Age TV views and ideas and, whatever. So,
make hats.
What?
Make hats.
Make hats. Okay. My hearing isn't very good. So anyways, hey, thanks for watching. God bless. Stay safe. And yeah, the Indian pursuit, it'll be interesting to see what an Indian does. I hope they stay strong. Have a great day.